Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Wednesday, April 4th, 11:48 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. What you're looking at is the very unfortunate GFS model showing extreme cold penetrating south past the southern tip of Texas all the way into Mexico on April 7th. This is your weekend forecast, which includes record snow across the U.S. in epic proportions. Welcome to the grand solar minimum, folks. This year has turned out to be one of the most epic jump starts to the grand solar minimum. We couldn't have expected this. New York City sees the heaviest April snow since 1982. We predicted it. Don't expect it, predict it. And that's what we did. The next two winters you see are going to be world renowned, breaking all records back into modern history. You're going to see events unlike events ever seen in human history, including New York City seeing the heaviest April snow since 1982. It's not over, folks. More snow is predicted this weekend. 14 centimeters of snow had accumulated in Central Park in New York on April 2nd. Was the most snow on April 2nd since 1982. And it is not over yet. Records being broken across the North American continent. Here we are. Record snow Tuesday across the upper Midwest. Boom! The upper Midwest is no stranger to snow, but it is when it is a record. Snow bands set up and dropped several inches. A few cities set daily snowfall records Tuesday. Many new records shattered the previous ones. Wisconsin, Washoe, saw a new record, almost 4 inches greater than the previous record set back in 1923. Which is right here at the solar minimum of cycle 15. That's not all the records broken. Green Bay, Wisconsin, 8.1 inches, new record, breaking the old record by 2 inches, a 25% plus increase. Twin Cities, Minnesota, 7.5 inches, breaking 5.9 inches, another 25% increase. La Crosse, Wisconsin, 6.7 inches, breaking the 6-inch record. We're not done. The snow is falling everywhere. Heads up, Madison. Snow ending. Cold and windy today. Record snowfall in Madison. Schools delayed. Slick roads cause slide-offs, crashes. Roads will be snow-covered for a while this morning. Temps will only rise into the lower and mid-30s today with gusty northwest winds of 20 to 30 miles per hour early in the morning, slowly diminishing through the day. It's going to be cold. A record snowfall in Madison, Wisconsin for April 3rd carried over into Wednesday with dozens of area school districts opening late and drivers having to deal with slippery roads. We're only talking 2.4 inches of snow that fell at Dane County Regional Airport, but that broke the 1.4-inch record set back in 1982. Heads up. It's not over. There is snow forecast until May. Don't hate me, but record-setting cold and snow are about to sweep across the U.S. Here is the April 7th, Saturday, GFS model. Heads up, Texas. First boom of the day. Texas. Thanks, Al. It's April, I know. Flowers should be blooming outdoors. Lunches should be starting. But springtime reality is a long way off for tens of millions of Americans. For people living across the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and New England, an Arctic blast and series of storm systems will make it look and feel more like February, the coldest time on Earth in the Northern Hemisphere during the next week. And if this is not a wake-up call for you global warming alarmists to take your heads out of your arses, I don't know what is. Because the Arctic is currently minus 30 degrees. There is no warming happening anywhere. Well, except where I live. But I chose wisely. On Friday, for example, temperatures in the north central states are likely to be 30 degrees below average for this time of year, with air temperatures holding below freezing all day in northern Minnesota and the Dakotas. The National Weather Service is forecasting Minneapolis' coldest April day ever on Friday with a high temperature of just 21 degrees. On Wednesday, the air temperature dropped to -6 Fahrenheit in Aberdeen, South Dakota, setting a new monthly record low for all of history ever. And this is what the models look like for you guys there in the Northeast. Nor'easter number 5 coming April 7th to Washington, D.C. Heads up, Ice Age 2050. Your big chance is still happening. And it's happening all the way through April. These are the unfortunate facts, which is actually the inconvenient truth, which is the title of our radio show every Wednesday night. Just got done the podcast. It was amazing with Tony Rango. We're going to post it this weekend. I hope you guys listened. We really covered the topics well. Now, U.S. weather, huge hailstones, tornadoes, and funnel clouds striking the Midwest right now, today. Look at this. Can you say biblical? It's just a word, folks. But this cloud is epic, certainly created by massive low pressure system, Earth spot near here. Now, these fronts create massive hail, and with the increased cosmic ray flux and strange changes to our atmosphere, stratosphere, and magnetosphere, with increased cosmic ray flux and energy to these storm systems, we are going to see hail increase, just like they did back in the Dalton minimum. Unusual record-breaking April could crash into eastern U.S. Friday. It could. Oh, maybe it won't. Maybe this giant weather pattern covering the entire northern hemisphere will not drop down. Maybe it won't do that. Maybe it'll be hot. What do you think, Al? Is it going to be hot this weekend in the Northeast? I doubt it. Jimmy, get out. We need an electrician next week. I'll buy the tickets. Flooding concerns ahead of the Truckee and Carson rivers due to an atmospheric river about to cause epic snows in the Sierras as well as flooding in lower elevations. A very warm and wet atmospheric river due to cosmic ray flux, descent into the grand solar minimum and the weakening magnetosphere will bring multiple days of gusty winds and heavy rain to the Sierra Nevada and western Nevada beginning on Friday, April 6th and continuing into the weekend. Flooding is expected along streams, creeks, and poor drainage areas with moderate rises to all area rivers. Some flooding possible along the Truckee and Carson rivers. Let's go to the Weather Ready Nation map, as we are Weather Ready Nation ambassadors at the Oppenheimer Ranch Project. We have winter storm warnings throughout all of western Montana, southern Montana. We have high wind advisories throughout Wyoming. We have winter storm watches here in Nebraska, central and northern Nebraska. Freeze warnings throughout the entire Mississippi, central Mississippi Valley, including northern Mississippi, northern Alabama, northern Georgia, all of Tennessee, all of Kentucky. That's you, Southern Misery. We know why they named the state that. High winds up in the northeast, gale warnings off the coast, flooding in northern California. And we're only getting started, guys. It's not the weekend. Check out the models. It's totally insane. I don't know how the mainstream is going to hold this under wraps. Look at this snow band extending all the way from British Columbia through Alberta, down through Montana, into Wyoming. Heavy isobars, heavy snow. All of Nebraska covered in snow. Friday. That's where we're starting. This is Friday morning, Saturday, all in Nebraska, dropping down. Here's the southern push. Look at the heavy weather. Heavy hail, thunder snow, sleet, freezing rain. Snow extending from Colorado all the way through Maine into New Brunswick. Boom! Spring has sprung, and this is going to destroy all potential for planting in the near future. This is dropping south and building as the low pressure centers somewhere near Atlanta. And you're going to have epic freezing rain, hail, thunder, snow events in West Virginia, Washington, D.C. Let's move this through. Heavy snow forming in the Delmarva Peninsula with sleet event. This is extending through southern Jersey, maybe Long Island and back into New York. We'll have to watch this model closely. All the while, heavy snow, thunder snow forming in the Sierras, epic flooding. This is going to be a fabulous weekend for weather watchers. Second event moving through the Craton here, creating snow that is going to continue through Pennsylvania all the way through Monday, and then the models will get sketchy. But let's look at the snowfall totals. First event is coming through here, dropping down into the panhandle of Texas, Saturday, April 7th. You can see the freeze line here, folks. Through central Arkansas, there are freeze warnings up. People have things planted. This is not good. Look at the planting here in Nebraska. You think they're going to be planting any corn here anytime soon? We're only at Sunday, April 8th, and the models are showing heavy snow moving again across the U.S. in another clipper. I won't even extend it, but if these models are correct, as we head towards May, heavy snows are predicted throughout the entire northern tier states, including New England, New Hampshire, Vermont. You're looking at over a foot in the mountains. And that's Tuesday, April 10th. I will not predict beyond that. But recent Indiana rainfall set new April records. Totally fluxed there. They set record snowfall records 48 hours ago, and now rainfall records. Across Indiana, some Indiana residents are wondering what the is happening. Well, we have the data, folks. Cosmic ray flux is increasing. It is going to be increasing more as time progresses, not less. The next 2 years are going to put us into an area of cosmic ray flux on the surface of the Earth that has never been seen in human history. I don't know what more I can tell you. Unseasonal rains cause widespread crop losses. Add that to the map, Christian. Ice Age Farmer has an amazing interactive wiki with the crop loss map. And this is going on there. Ertzweiler, Nalgonda accounts for 65% of total loss. The unseasonable rains and inclement weather has damaged standing crops in over 60,000 acres. 60,000 acres. We've been reporting on 4, 5, and 8,000 acre losses. This is the first 60,000 acre loss. That is amazing. These are patties. Guys, did you see the camels covered in snow? It's not supposed to snow in North Africa or Saudi Arabia in April. Yet we've been seeing it continuously for the last 3 years. And this year, this is the 5th, maybe 7th snowstorm in this region. The Asir region of Saudi Arabia was covered with snow as the grand solar minimum descended on the northern hemisphere and the world. The region experienced rain and snow for 6 hours, covering the mountains and camels and everything else you want to look at. I'll leave you links to all these articles, including the Khaleej Times coming from Saudi Arabia, photos of the Saudi region covered in snow, published just hours ago. Amazing footage of the Asir region of Saudi Arabia covered in snow. And this is no joke, folks. Quick seismic outlook and update. We have moderate activity globally. This massive cluster happening on the Caribbean plate is ongoing now for months. We have the mid-ocean ridges moving at an astonishing rate here, the activity. This is the cosmic rays influencing the volcanic activity here in these ridges. The entire west coast has moderate activity, 4.6 Jose del Cabo. We have multiple 3.0s kicking off in California here just south of the border, 3.2. 3.0 in Pinos, and up just north of the Cascadia region, a 3.0 up in Canada. Quake of note in the last 24 hours, 5.9 in the Philippines. Tarragona, no information on the main wire. Vanuatu volcano alert Ambae remaining at level 3. The volcanic eruption Ambae confined inside the lake of Wa is stable at alert level 3. It's continuing to erupt in a minor state. Volcano news worldwide, Sabancaya, strong puff emissions for hours. And we also have Fuego, Reventador, Ebico, and Suanosima, which is the skier destruction mountain. Mars mission, how increasing levels of space radiation will halt human visitors. Coming out today, apparently they were at the Observing the Frontier conference where we heard an amazing presentation on how a mission to Mars is impossible and soon living on the surface of the Earth. But I don't want to get your panties in a bunch. That's not for about 100 years. What is geoengineering? It's the deliberate large-scale intervention in the Earth's natural systems to counteract climate change. And they're considering it. They're considering solar radiation management, geoengineering, carbon dioxide removal, carbon geoengineering, in multiple different ways to do it. There are multiple papers in the scientific literature to discuss what the actual different types of geoengineering considered are. But there is also ample evidence to suggest that there has only been minor scale testing, if any, simply because there would be no way for world governments to agree on anything. I'll leave you links to this paper. It's pretty recent. Let's talk about the unsettled science of albedo. While the global warming nonsense was happening and they were actually looking into what albedo is, which is the effect of these contrails, which are persistent, that are lasting in our atmosphere, causing the Earth's rays to be bounced back into space and cooling the planet. And they've known this all along because they started to discover back in 1998 that the albedo was actually increasing on Earth when, if Al Gore was right and the actual planet was melting and everything was melting away and there's no more snow that our children would ever see again, ever, which is a total lie because snowfall records are being set everywhere in the middle of April. No one could explain why the albedo was increasing, but we've explained it to here quite concisely on the channel. And if you've been following us, you know the science of cosmic rays and the weakening magnetosphere, which are separate events and not related, are all culminating in this one grand solar minimum that is also happening at the same time that the magnetosphere is waning because we're in a magnetic excursion. This is corresponding to the onset of the next glacial period, which will last for tens of thousands of years. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's happened time immemorial, and we have the data on it. Poor Al Gore. Without YouTube, we wouldn't be getting this information to you because it's certainly not being played on the mainstream. But the albedo effect has been increasing for a long time on Earth. And if you know what albedo means, it means that since 1998, the Earth has been cooling. So I'll leave you links to this information, and you can come to your own conclusions. I hope you got something out of the video. I've been talking for hours and hours. I seem to repeat myself every night. The area shaded in red is where we currently are. The solar minimum and the grand solar minimum we're headed into is now accepted by the mainstream. Their predictions are bleak. Yesterday, a paper came out about total solar irradiance being underestimated by a factor of 6. The prediction is in green. If you're 50 years old, you will live all the way down through this. The time is now to start preparing. I can't say that enough. Be safe, everybody.